Do we have a potential 2025 Whiskey of the Year contender here with the newest release from Bardstown Bourbon Company? This just happens to be their Hokkaido Mizunara, a barrel finishing series whiskey that we're going to get into right now here on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much as always for joining today. So like I mentioned before, we are talking about the newest release here from Bardstown Bourbon Company. This just happens to be the Hokkaido Mizunara Oak barrel finish whiskey. Not going to be a bourbon. I will throw eventually here the mash bill up on the screen that will show or prove that it's not going to officially be a bourbon, but it will have to be classified as a whiskey. But some of the specs, 109.3 proof. Again, I'll throw the mash bill up on the screen so you can see what basically the entire whiskey really kind of is comprised of. And there will be no age statement. However, it's going to be a blend of whiskeys 9, 14, 15, and 18. And as you'll see, it's going to be Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So very interesting from that standpoint. MSRP on this is going to come in at right around 99 bucks. Will be something that they ultimately release, I believe, at the distillery. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, beginning either July 8th or July 9th. So don't quote me on that, but I think it's going to be right around that period of time. So let's dive into this. I'm really excited to kind of get into this and see and really tell you guys a little bit more about this. Big fan of what Mizunara typically will do to or with a great whiskey. We've got whiskeys that have some great ages. So again, Bardstown Bourbon Company kind of at it again with what they do. I mean, they're great at blending, putting all these different mash bills together, creating some very unique blends. So let's kind of dive into it and see exactly what the newest, the Hokkaido Mizunara Oak barrel finish whiskey kind of has to offer. Oh man, it is a very spicy, fruit-forward whiskey. Those older whiskeys are really, really showing up. Maybe not as much as the Cathedral that they released, I believe it was late in 2024. But I'll tell you what, this has a very strong, older, richer oak profile to it. Really combined with that nice spice, that really great kind of fruit layer that this has. It's more of a, in terms of a fruit, a really almost concentrated type of fruit note. Beautiful, beautiful baking spices on this. I think you're even picking up on some of that kind of leather, tobacco. There's a real overall richness. It's kind of getting into that, both the decadent and savory, and it feels like kind of those are a little too kind of hot words that I've been using recently. But so far, it has a lot of each of those kind of components that you would expect from something like that. Yeah, love the tobacco, love the oak, the spice, that fruit that's there. I mean, it is very, very in the forefront. But let's dive into this and see exactly what the Hokkaido Mizunara Oak whiskey is going to offer on the palate. Cheers. Boy, so very, very much like the nose. Very much of a fruit, and again, I'm going to say like more of a concentrated fruit, spice, pastry that it has on it. This kind of rich, like vanilla custard that works really well with that spice or the baking spices that are there. Man, it is just, it's kind of dancing all over the palate as well. I mean, it's crazy what this thing has to offer. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but these are being aged in the Mizunara Oak for upwards of about 28 months. So a nice aging period of time. So you're going to get a nice influence from those barrels. Yeah, the oak that this has on it, it is a very intense oak. It's almost a different flavor that this is giving you. It is not a standard type of oak. Again, depending on, well, the Hokkaido and what those Mizunara barrels may offer, maybe this is where a little bit of that different profile is kind of coming through. Very interesting. I'm trying to figure out exactly if this is more of a dusty oak, but not like that super like old dusty oak. There's not that. This has much more of that rich kind of like a strong or heavy soaked wood type of feel and taste to it. You can see there's a lot of barrel interaction with this, so it's pulling out a lot of those characteristics of what those barrels really have to offer. Yeah, I'm gonna say like beautiful, like almost like a fresh tobacco leaf. If you've ever smelled one, or just, I'll just say tobacco leaves in general, there's a real strong kind of like aromatic to that. And that is very much on the palate, mixing very well with that different oak, the fruit layer, the spice, again, those baking spices that are there, all tremendous. Maybe even you start to get into a little bit of that like burnt butter. There's a real just intenseness to this thing that is unlike a lot of other whiskeys that you may try. This has a very unique kind of profile to me that's just offering up, again, a different experience. And I think in today's day and age of that bang for your buck and getting something different, this has all of that so far. And we're only a few minutes into this thing. I don't know what or how this thing will go in maybe any different directions down the road or as this bottle begins to open up a little bit more. But so far, man, it is a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. Yeah, I think you start to get, on top of all the oak and spice and fruit, little hints of some kind of black pepper that are there. Sits on the palate, very oily, which is something I like as well. Good proof point, almost 110, 109.3. Great ages on these whiskeys. That's one thing I really appreciate with them doing these kind of blends, is the youngest being 9, the oldest being 18 years. You're getting a really nice dynamic of whiskeys that have aged over a period of time, and then added to, the Mizunara, barrels for upwards again of 20, I believe 28 months. So you're getting a really, really unique profile. And again, I love the fact that they're releasing this in a 375 milliliter. They're going to spread the wealth a little bit, get more of these bottles into more people's hands. Hopefully people are going to open these, enjoy this. I think it's truly going to be one of those whiskeys that an awful lot of people are going to really, really enjoy. It'll be interesting to see the kind of the comparison of this whiskey and the Cathedral, just kind of see where it lands, like what people kind of prefer, one versus the other, or whatever it may be. But, these are two monster whiskeys, right out of the gate. Well, I just got like a really nice, almost a toffee type of note, but it feels more of a fresh one. Like, so if you were in like a candy shop and they somehow were just making it, like, I guess I'll compare toffee, fudge, whatever that richness may be, all working extremely well with the oak, the spice, leathers, tobaccos. Again, a little bit of that black pepper that's there. The fruit is crazy on this thing. I mean, it is a very dense, concentrated fruit note. Even though I'll say this, that does settle in a little bit more so that it's not so much in the forefront. It just begins to work really well, or kind of sits on the palate from the standpoint of it just working extremely well with all the other flavors. It's not as dominant as maybe it was early on, but now it's just settling in beautifully and just working extremely well with just all of the flavor profiles that I've kind of mentioned. All right, let's get one more sip and see if this thing has anything else to offer. And man, I'll tell you, you guys are in for a real treat with this one. Yeah, I just think everything that I've kind of described is going to be this whiskey in a nutshell. I mean, it is just a beautifully well done, whiskey. I want to call it a bourbon, but there's one mash bill in there that disqualifies it from technically being a bourbon. But I'll tell you what, if you get this bottle, I think you're in for a real treat. I would definitely seek this out at $100. Again, even it being a 375, in my book, it's worth it. It is a fantastic whiskey, and I think an awful lot of people are truly going to enjoy this themselves, sharing it, whatever it is you do. But you're in for a heck of a ride with this whiskey, and it'll be interesting again to see how much or if this really changes, any going forward. But and I don't know what else to say about it other than, congratulations to those of you guys who end up getting this bottle. You're really, really going to enjoy this, I think. So with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Greatly appreciate it. Again, I'm always interested to hear, your feedback. Once you get this thing and try it, come back, let me know, your thoughts, let others know your thoughts, kind of where this thing is. And if you want, kind of compare it to what the Cathedral, if you were lucky enough to get this bottle as well. And again, this is going to be high for me in the overall, kind of 2025 whiskey. So it's a high bar to even come close to this thing. But I'll tell you what, I think they did a spot on job with this thing. And you're going to be rewarded when you end up with a bottle. So with that, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook and Instagram, those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out that Patreon link in the description below. That down there with a lot of other great things for you as well. So with that, and as always, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers. We'll see you next time. I've been feeling myself. I've been trying to keep it all on track. I can tell you took your time. I've been thumbing through your gram like that. Bring my energy back. Girl, you're something like the sunlight. Girl, you're something like the sunshine.